get this shit more organized, guys, and bring things together. So I done did a little research, got a little stuff together, man. You know, just sitting here chilling and just, you know, give y'all a long-winded episode of my mind. You know what I'm saying? Just what I be on, the type of things that I learn, and you know, uh, I just want to say that everything that I be putting out here, I just want people to be aware of your surroundings. You know what I'm saying? Like, you know what I'm saying? Not to stress people out in situations. You know what I'm saying? Just to bring awareness to, you know what I'm saying? It's an agenda. That's all I want to say. You know what I'm saying? Like, it's a reason why we go through the things that we go through with each other, as opposed to thinking to uplift each other and help each other. You know what I'm saying? It's a reason why we go through the things we go through. You know what I'm saying? Like, it's just certain things that I can't stress enough that a lot of us don't have resources. Um, you know what I'm saying? A lot of us don't have resources. A lot of us don't know people that, you know what I'm saying, could teach us this or teach us that. You know what I'm saying? Especially when you grow up in some of the environments like we do. I grew up mother, trying to do it on her own, father, you know what I'm saying, there but from a distance, just it wasn't no foundation. Street lights came on and we knew to come in at certain times. We didn't stay out. It just wasn't something we did. You know what I'm saying? We didn't have curfews. We didn't, we didn't have nobody to care. We didn't have nobody to show up to games and all that stuff. You know what I'm saying? Like, it was hard. Our parents was on drugs. Some things that we don't understand as young people growing up, teenagers and in our, young age, we don't understand that our parents didn't have the tools that we had. They was misguided and young and out and had kids at a young age and things. You know what I'm saying? Like, they was misguided. They didn't have a foundation. You know what I'm saying? They didn't know no better. So they might have been doing what they was doing based off of what they was learning, like just learning in life. You know what I'm saying? As you go about doing things, a lot of people live like that. A lot of people, you can't predict how things can go. You can strategize, like play chess and not checkers. You can predict that, okay, if I do this, then this might happen, or that might happen, or that might happen. A lot of people don't play these scenarios in their head, or whatever it may be. You know what I'm saying? Because they're not taught to play chess. They're taught to play checkers. You know what I'm saying? Like, my story, I swear to you, I learned to play chess in elementary school. They taught us how to play chess in elementary school at Lilly and Emery in New Albany, Indiana. You know what I'm saying? That's when my mother was in prison. We wasn't living with my father. We stayed with my auntie Sheila in a place called Crystal Court. You know what I'm saying? And we went to Lilly and Emery, you know what I'm saying? And this is what I was in there learning. I learned how to play chess. And, my family don't know that I stood out in that class of people that played chess. You know what I'm saying? I just didn't have support. And me as a grown man, like, I remember it. Like, we don't understand, like say how you remember, when you got a cut on your leg or something on your arm. You remember that. You remember that. It don't matter how old you are, that memory still stay with you. You remember when you was a kid and you fell on that glass and made that cut or whatever it is. You could be fucking 50. You remember how you got that cut. You know what I'm saying? So it's also that way when like, say for instance, in my situation back then, when I was in school learning shit and they was teaching me how to play chess. And when all those, I had all those teachers teaching me how to play chess at Lillian Emery, and the reaction I was getting from them, they're like, "Yeah, that's exactly how you do it." You feel me? Like, damn, I ain't mean to get all animated like that, but that's how they was. And I was like, "Oh shit, like, I'm good at this." Then, you know what I'm saying? Like, it. That's how it was, and I remember that reaction. You know what I'm saying? Like, it stuck with me, you know what I'm saying, my whole life. So no matter what, these are certain things we'll always remember. So those are the moments that I'm going to give to y'all. You know what I'm saying? The things that I learned, because that's what brought me down the paths, and that's what I'm going to get more towards with this long-winded stuff. I want to get more towards educating people on, you know what I'm saying? That's I just been trying to map it out, you know, in the shows that I do with some of these guys and the interviews that I do, you know what I'm saying? It just be the perspective of some of the things that I done learned in life, people that I done went out that I learned something from. And I just want people to just learn something, and however it turned. Like we talk sports, we everything. You know, we fathers, we raised our kids. You know, I had custody of my children and everything. You know, so it's a lot of things that I feel like people should know, because when you got 10 people in a group, and you know six of them agreed to some foolishness, the other four, just because of the way that the world goes now, you know, you get overridden because of what they say. Well, more of us voted yay as opposed to nay. You know what I'm saying? But some people, a lot of people, be uneducated about the situations when they say yay. You know what I'm saying? And those four was thinking about the everybody, not just themselves. But they got overwritten because those 6 people said yay and those four said nay. And those four was thinking about everybody else. Those 6 people was all thinking about themselves. You know what I'm saying? And that's how we lose as cultures. You know what I'm saying? That's how we continue to be separated. So today I'm gonna give y'all Karl Marx and the Communist Manifesto, when I learned about this stuff in school, and the proletariat and the bourgeoisie. You know what I'm saying? It's just like, you know, in the 1800s or something, early the 21st century and shit. But you know, I don't keep up with the times of all this stuff until I start looking at it. But I remember the people from these classes and these you know, the things that I learned. That's what I remember. I remember the names like Karl Marx, and you know, certain things like Darwinism and Marxist theories and stuff like. And this people look at me and don't know that I know these things, but that's why I feel the way I feel about certain shit, and I have strong views when people say some of the things to me that they say, because they are unaware. You know, I'm gonna give y'all the rundown of like how they did with this Austin Metcalf situation, and how the now, you know, the Proud Boys trying to get involved. Like, people don't understand that it's certain things that went into effect that made these teachings, and the way that people started to structure their homes and things, was this was an agenda, because people before us, any of us, any of this existed, had ideas that people would try this shit. So before we get to it, what I learned about this theory, I learned about Karl Marx. You know what I'm saying? And Karl Marx had we'll go to this. I'm gonna just tell you who Karl Marx. We'll start with Karl Marx. All right, so boom. Karl Marx, and you know what I'm saying. This is, I don't go to Wikipedia, none of that. We don't do Wikipedia. You know what I'm saying. We might talk to some AI programs and all that stuff. You know, just depending, like the free ones and stuff. You know, the ones that's not regulated by our governments and things like this. You know, I don't. I got some on my computer. I got Pole, Deep State, and all that. Deep. What is it? Deep Seek, and all that shit. I got all that too. So. I just use you can just Google some of this sometimes, you know what I'm saying? But just understand, you have to, you know, you can Google these things, but don't trust what you Google on her. You know, you have to, like, this is what was taught to me by my instructor, okay? You know what I'm saying? And, you know, one day I'm gonna do one on Miss Monk, you know what I'm saying, just out of respect for her, you know, because she was powerful. So let's get into it. So Google is okay to learn from, you know what I'm saying, to look up some shit real quick, but you don't want to go on Wikipedia and all that as a resource to things, you wanna use credible sources, as what I was taught in school. When I went to college and things, learn credible sources. Karl Marx theory, known as Marxism, is a multifaceted body of ideas that analyzes the historical development of societies, the workings of capitalism, and the prospects for a socialist and ultimately communist future. Key elements include the theory of historical materialism, the critique of capitalism, and the concept of class struggle. That was kind of his theory, and the AI kind of run it down. I'm saying, the Google AI, and they give you a breakdown of who it is, who he is. And you can do the rest on your own, on your research. I just want to, give you the gist of who some of these people are, like Karl Marx, and what that was, who he is, and his theory was known as Marxism. You know what I'm saying? And then what he was big for was this. He was big for the Communist Manifesto. You know what I'm saying? And his book broke down, the different parties. His book said that, this wasn't, you got to realize, guys, this was in 1848. You know what I'm saying? And the way that we live today didn't exist. Some of these things, it was different ways. We don't know because we wasn't there. But the essay was more about, what I'm saying, his theory was, what I'm saying, he believed that the poor would overthrow. He was one of those people that was fighting back then. Like his theory, he was somebody back then fighting. Like he was trying to like kind of do a revolution with this book. You know what I'm saying? Like the Communist Manifesto. You know what I'm saying? Because he was talking about, like, hey, y'all, we ain't gotta take this. You know what I'm saying? We outnumber them. You know what I'm saying? We could do a revolution. You know what I'm saying? Like, they control the working class. They control us. You know what I'm saying? Like, his book was crazy. So, I sat and to give something to y'all, I want to say this. I did a rundown with this AI that I use. The AI that I use is Poe. You know what I'm saying? And I'll give y'all it real quick. Go look up. Okay, yeah, dude. So we go poll.com. Okay, yeah. See, I'll give y'all this real quick. We go poll. It's poll.com. This is one that I use. Okay. And it's dope. You know what I'm saying? I got Deep Seek on there. I got Deep Seek R1, Deep Seek RFW. You know what I'm saying? So it's, all the versions on there you can use. And I'll give a breakdown on the AI too, you know what I'm saying? But some of these are things that can't be, like people just uploaded certain information to them. Yeah, they can be, manipulated, but it's something that I do research with a lot. You know what I'm saying? Like you can write papers and concept out theories and everything together on these. But I just wanted to start like teaching y'all. I'll do a breakdown one day on that, but not just straight from it. So, the Communist Manifesto, I give y'all. We'll do the same thing. We'll do. We're gonna go to the poll real quick about these things because I'm gonna get to the point. You know what I'm saying? So I sat and talked with it. Give me a summary of the Communist Manifesto. And I don't worry about my spelling. I'll be typing out fast sometimes. But if I had to turn it in, I'll be on point with it. But the Communist Manifesto breaks down into 4 sections, is what the AI's, details for me to give to y'all. And I want you to understand the bourgeoisie and the proletariats. You know what I'm saying? Like, that's what I was taught. That's exactly how I was taught it in school. The proletariats and the bourgeoisie, the proletariats and the communists. And that's where Marxism and Marxist theories came in and all that, because like he said, the 99, this is where the 99 and the 1%, these are when those theories started to develop in history, and I give it to you know this section discusses the history of society as a history of class struggles. Marxist and Engels. I gotta look up the guy Engels. I think his name. Let me go back to the my other page real quick because I want to give y'all everybody's name. Okay, Frederick Engels. Him and the buddy was they was partners, and you know what I'm saying in this book that had a series of class struggles, and it became the conflict between the bourgeoisie, which was the capital, and I'm gonna give y'all that. Let's go to it. So, who are the bourgeoisie and the proletariats? Y'all can go on here and finish the rest on yourself on these things, but I just want to give it to you. The proletariat and the bourgeoisie. You know what I'm saying? I'm not gonna be reading them all the time. I'm just gonna be like pause and let y'all do y'all you know, thing. You know, matter of fact, we could do it. So the proletariat and the bourgeoisie, you know what I'm saying? I'm gonna put it on the screen, pause, I'm gonna scroll through, pause, give y'all a second to read what the definition of the proletariat and the bourgeoisie was. That's what I'm not gonna talk over those. And I'm just gonna let y'all see it. I might hit the button so you can hear it and I'll let y'all see it, then I'll come back and talk about it. So what I learned about these two classes and what I learned about this was, one was the capitalist class, the powerful people, which was the bourgeoisie, and then the proletariat was the working class, the 99%. Like this is what I was taught. I was taught that, this is the 99 and the 1%, and they, Marxist was, you know, early time. Malcolm X's and activists and stuff. Him and Fredericks. His name was what was his name? Frederick Engels. You know what I'm saying? Him and Frederick Engels. You know what I'm saying? Like these dudes wrote this book called the Communist Manifesto. I'm gonna pull that up and let y'all just. I'm just gonna pull it up and let y'all see like. But this book was about hey, look, we deeper than them. You know what I'm saying? We the 99%, and we could do away with this working class, this whole class thing. Like, you know what I'm saying? We could do away with it, and we can work with each other. We could politic, and we could do this because only them are benefiting off of it. You know what I'm saying? And I sat and had a conversation with the AI on it. You know what I'm saying? So I, give you that. And one day I'll break down the AI and all that. But I'm gonna pause again. I'm gonna give y'all what Karl Marx and Frederick Engels did, and this is work that you should look into because this will start to make everything make sense for you. For everybody that believes that everything's a conspiracy, a conspiracy, a conspiracy. It is. It is. It is. It is. It is. It is stuff that was set in place. It was laws that it's. If you know how to play chess, you understand that you did this move because you expected this to happen and this to happen throughout history and this to happen throughout history. So you had to prepare for these things. You know what I'm saying? Like you can see in today's times how they go to war with other countries, how we involve ourselves with situations that don't involve us as period. That's not just the government, as people meddling, you know what I'm saying, in situations, just all that, not minding your business, like just, hey, what's going on? Like all that, just this, like, but anyways, so I'm gonna pause for a second to show y'all the Communist Manifesto because this was a book that people should try to get, and you could go online and find a digital copy of it, and or you could go on chat poll, which what I'm gonna do, and I'm gonna give y'all the summary. I'm gonna just pause and let y'all read what the AI said and then come back and give y'all my 2 cents and run things on it, because I'm gonna let y'all learn this stuff that I learned so you would understand that it is an agenda. It's not to ruin minds. It's just to, it's like at the end of the day, I want y'all to understand that there's a wall right there. So if you want to run your head into the wall, run your head into the wall. But think about those around you that we could do so much for if we understood that it's a wall right there, and we taught those not to run into this wall. And then I'm gonna give y'all an example with the Austin Metcalf of people running into that wall, like the father clearly saying things to this man and then being disrespected by another man trying to use their son as a publicity stunt. You know, it's just sad. But so, Communist Manifesto, pause. Y'all can pull it up and look for yourself what this is. So that's the Communist Manifesto, and I use credible sources. So that's Britannica, like that's the thick encyclopedias my grandfather and them used to have on the shelves and stuff. You know what I'm saying? I need to get a set of those. I got books and stuff, digital copies of things and everything. So you know what I'm saying? Their theory, his theory was class struggles and, you know what I'm saying, principles of status per quo, you know, status quos back then, you know. And status quo is the existing state of affairs, especially regarding social or political issues. That's what, you know, according to dictionary, that's what status quo is, you know what I'm saying? So these books were according to these theories, was according to these times, you know what I'm saying, of the status quo and certain things that was going on. So something I'm gonna pull this video up to let y'all see this video of uh you know, and it's brought to you by this dude, Water God TV, you know what I'm saying, people giving him thumbs up. He got the video, and I just wanted y'all to see the words, you know what I'm saying, of what this man is, what the father's saying to him, but he's saying back. And I just want to warn y'all, he gonna do some cussing. The father's gonna do some cussing, but this is somebody using this man's son as a publicity stunt. And this is what I'm gonna get into, of how they use these are people that came into new times. Like I do one on Stephen Templar and how he exiled a lot of you know, Aristotle's work, and he walked the earth before him. Like these was important things. Like the 219 condemnations of Aristotle. Like this is real information that people could have learned that one man said you shouldn't learn. You know what I'm saying? And they was exiling people, sending people like to Australia and different places. If you was taught teaching this type of stuff, you was, you know what I'm saying? Like it was just crazy. So, you know, I'm gonna give it to y'all and show y'all what he did. And this is just a little video. He put the words on her, Water God. I probably could have pulled it up and did the same thing, but I'm just gonna switch to the homies video real quick so y'all can see this real quick.
Would you be willing to stand by me in a press conference or in an individual interview and talk about this issue that is larger than Austin at this point? God rest the beautiful young man's soul that would have been one of our strongest voices if he was still alive today.
Are you done?
Yes, I am, sir.
Okay, my turn to speak. You are part of the problem, my friend. You're trying to create more race divide than bridging the gap. I do not condone anything you do. You do not have any.
That's called white guilt.
No, let it talk. Of my son. Let me finish. I give you your time. You take my son's face off your website. I am not associated with you.
You're creating more Austin Metcalfs with your weakness, sir. You are creating more Austin Metcalfs with your weakness.
Like, listen to this shit, man. That's enough. I'm not even gonna entertain no more. I just wanna just let people see how this is the shit that they do. You know what I'm saying? This is how they keep that power. This is how they maintain that power. Because they do this to get everybody riled up, all razzle dazzled. I'm gonna give Buddy a thumbs up for the video. You know what I'm saying? But we're gonna close it out. We done with that. They do all that to get everybody razzle dazzled. You know what I'm saying? Uh People like Karl Marx and Frederick Engels, they brought about new laws, you know what I'm saying? Like it was 1848, you know what I'm saying, with the Communist Manifesto and all these books about, you know what I'm saying, the proletariat and the bourgeoisie is whatever it said. You know what I'm saying? We was all a group of people. You know what I'm saying? We was just a working class. It wasn't about this race shit that they made it. It wasn't about this oppression that they was pushing. It wasn't about none of it. There wasn't an agenda. But I want to introduce y'all to when the agenda came in. It came in around 1924 when they came in with this. And I'm gonna pause for y'all to read. This is what I learned about and Virginia is where it started. Okay, Virginia is where when the European, and this is not no bullshit whatsoever. It's just where you learn that history. It just might have been different and people don't know it, but it was black and white Europeans. It was black and white Europeans. I can pull up a video of an Indian woman right now. You can look up yourself, Chief Warhorse. You know what I'm saying? She tells you about black Europeans. She talks about black Europeans. So it was white and black Europeans that came and settled and started in Virginia. Yes, it was. And they was proletariats and bourgeoisie around these times and all of this. It was a mixing and mingling. And then came in, it had people like Karl Marx trying to write these books like, yeah, man, we don't need they classes and all this. We do all the work and all of this. You know what I'm saying? They were like, hold up. You got people like Darwin. I'm going to go through the AI. I'm going to get there. But you have people like Darwin that come in like, hey, we got to do something about this. You know what I'm saying? And his evolution was to divide. You know what I'm saying? So I'm going to pull this up and let y'all get the gist of what they came up with. They came up with this in 1924. Boom. So to combat, I'm gonna come back to it. So to combat Karl Marx and Frederick Nim and, to do more shit on aligning for this capitalist interest, these people that had the control, this is what they did. The law that they made, like I said, I showed y'all the Communist Manifesto was in 1848, and then 1924 they find a cure to how we eliminate the 99, how we separate the poor black and whites, and it was this. The New Virginia Law to Preserve Racial Integrity, March 1924. And I'm going to just pause. Y'all can read it. Scroll. It's the bottom. And again, I just give y'all this information, and I'm saying I'm giving y'all the laws that went into play. I'm gonna give y'all a lot of that, and a lot of stuff that I'm speaking on is gonna be laws, facts, as stuff that you can look up, like the Indian Removal Act. Like these are laws, okay? This is shit that I say is set in stone. So you can believe that, you know, I even asked the AI in a summary, like, what happened to Karl Marx after this book? You know what I'm saying? Like, what did they do to him? You know what I'm saying? It don't lie to you. It tell you, like, he suffered financial hard times and he went through, all the stuff he went through behind that, so it was crazy, but nonetheless, so I gave y'all Karl Marx's theory. I gave y'all status quo, the Communist Manifesto. You know what I'm saying? The proletariat and the bourgeoisie. I'm closing these out as I gave it to y'all. I gave y'all the March 1924 Act and the Racial Integrity Act. I give y'all, the poll. Let's get the conversation of Karl Marx. Let's pull it on up. So. And I'm gonna just pause. I'm gonna pull it up. So the AI that I use is Poe. And like I said, let me go back to the top before I go back. Let me get all the way back to the top because that's where I was at the end. So and I'm gonna pause. I'm gonna pause and let it excuse me. You won't see me on it, but I'm gonna pause and let y'all read it. Don't be worrying about my spelling on it. Don't be just leave me alone, okay? So I'm gonna put that on there, but I'm gonna pause. Actually, I'm gonna pull it up and let y'all see. I asked the AI questions like, "What is the manifesto?" and all of this. And I'm gonna let y'all see what the question was about things to give you a little bit of rundown over things. Like I done gave you my 2 cents on it. You know what I'm saying? Like the situation. So I'm gonna give you what it break it down as. And I'm gonna just pause and let you read. I'm gonna read with y'all and then come back in. And I just want to pause this for a second to let y'all see, like, a lot of my people didn't understand, what I'm saying, when a lot of people seen that I was Republican and shit, what I'm saying? Like, you know, I don't, I would say that I'm more aligned with Republican views because, what I'm saying, and this ain't, no shy on shoot at this Democrats and shit, what I'm saying, and if I lose you, I lose you, I just what I believe in more aligns with that because I believe in the structure of things because I know about this of what I just showed you. Like this is what I was taught about Jim Crow laws, and when a lot of people like she showed me, Miss Monk showed me people that had never ever been slaves in their lives. You know what I'm saying? Like they were sheriffs and everything. Like so, she was like, "How could it have been true that all these dudes were slaves and everybody was brought over here on a boat?" She's like, "Because how they family never get enslaved, and how was they sheriffs up here and all this?" And I was like, "Damn." Like, why are you telling me this? You know what I'm saying? Like, like it was just crazy because she wanted me to understand of something called, like I talked in the other episodes, collective conditioning. She wanted me to understand of the agenda of the 1% and how they kept control over people because it is that thing that if you have somebody, if you tell, they got them old theories. If they are unaware, they will not care. You know what I'm saying? All this stuff, so people just don't know things, they don't accept things, but you see how uh it spoke about what it did and who it was and the downside of those people that went against them. You see that Karl Marx and Frederick Engels was trying to unite the poor blacks and whites. You know what I'm saying? And you don't understand. You look at him, you see what he was. You know what I'm saying? He was some white man. You know what I'm saying? You feel me? But we don't know. He might have been mixed or what I'm saying, albino or whatever. You know what I'm saying? We don't know what he looked like because they black and white pictures. You know what I'm saying? So, we we gotta understand these things ourselves. We gotta always factor in that this is what we've been taught, and you choose to believe what you choose to believe. A lot of us don't have resources like this. Like we don't. A lot of people don't have instructors like Miss Monk that really care, that want to see people. Miss Billy Monk, that want to see people change. That want to see people do different. You know what I'm saying? You don't have a lot of instructors like that. I was fortunate to have one like that, and it's the stuff that she taught me, to see that it's an agenda to keep us angry at each other, to keep us separated, to keep us beefing. And it's people that did it. It's Darwinism. It's the control. It's Now we ain't gonna call us proletariat and bourgeoisie no more. We're gonna call it black, white, Chinese, all of this, African American. We're gonna break it all down in all these different categories with these acts, these racial acts, and they kept passing more laws. And who was the people responsible for passing these laws? It was the Southern Democratic Party. She taught me that, a lot of the stuff that came from these Southern Democratic parties was stagnation. Like they put you on a program to sit on that program for 20, 30 years, and then till your kid turn 18, and till this kid turn 18, and till that kid turn 18, and then by that time you have no resources. You've learned nothing. You've been stagnant on that program for all these years. So then you don't earn no high paying job. You still result to the working class. You still result to working at a job, what I'm saying, helping a business thrive. Like this is stuff that was set in place for you and you wasn't even thought of in these 1800s, and it's in effect today, and it's affecting how we live. And yet we don't have the gall to come together to push for enough change for ourselves. So I just want to be one of the catalysts. I don't care. I want to educate people. I want to show people stuff like this. You know what I'm saying? So it is what it is. Social Darwinism. And I'm gonna go back to it and let y'all pause and read. But I continue to ask the AI, because when it mentioned Darwinism, like I said, I told y'all I knew about Darwinism. His idea was to separate the poor blacks and whites and everything, but that's how it was taught to me. And the AI was like, it wasn't his original idea. His original idea was more about, people was different. Like how at the end of the day, this is real. You go to certain restaurants, you see certain people, you see certain groups of people. You see some of these young kids sitting there on their phones and all that stuff. Especially my people. 9 times out of 10, your order gonna be messed up, and it's sad. It's sad. You see a group of Mexicans or something in there, your order grade be fresh, everything grade be proper. You see some white folks in there, and nowadays it's 50-50, because you don't know if they in there off the drugs and shit too. You know what I'm saying? Whatever, like these are the real realities that we live in. But you see one of these, like you go to one of these areas where all them Africans and stuff is out there. You know what I'm saying? Like, Newburgh and things like that. Man, them people, they food piping hot and it's fresh. You know what I'm saying? It don't matter what it is. It's just how it is, But nonetheless, you'll see that his idea was that people in different groups excel in different things. You know what I'm saying? Like, you good with tools, and you good with drawing, and you good with making fruits, and you good with this, and he believed that these certain cultures excelled in these certain things, is what his theory was. But it was interpreted in different ways, and that's what the AI tells you. It tells you like this history, and this is what I was taught. Like I was taught that his theory was misused. His theory was misinterpreted, and it was used in a way that negatively impacted us all. You know what I'm saying? It was used in this racist way, that these uneducated people, like I told you, prejudice and uneducated, they cousins, they brothers and sisters, they husband and wife, god damn it, they one in the peas in the pod, they can't exist without the other. You know what I'm saying? Like it's the truth, you know. So I go back to the AI pause and let you read. So you got to think about things like when these people like Christopher Columbus and stuff from Spain and all of this started doing all this traveling to these different places. They understood these things. You know what I'm saying? Like they had this natural selection that they knew about. You know what I'm saying? The survival of different species and certain stuff that they believed in. So these people were pushing for different agendas. And you know what we don't understand is in these times these people study this stuff. Like you know what I'm saying? Like I'll pull up something a little bit, you know, crazy to show y'all like the yeah, see, so I'm gonna pause and let y'all read this because I had to do some digging real quick. I had to do a little quick research. I edited that out. So I had to pause and do some digging. But I found it. So they set up these camps where they was bleeding the pigmentation out of these kids and stuff. And they was calling it something back then. It was Aboriginal. And I'm gonna play this little video that they got on here and you know, I'm gonna pause, play the video, you know, and it's crazy. You know what I'm saying? It's just crazy, and all these people are dead and stuff and all this. But you know, so with any disclaimer, I don't own none of this or nothing. It's just information that I learned in school, and I just want to give to y'all and put out. So I'm gonna play this little video, and then I'm gonna scroll through what these was, and you know, these was camps where they was removing, you know, indigenous kids. They was moving indigenous kids, like you know, native kids. You know what I'm saying? Indigenous kids, like albinos and stuff, you know what I'm saying? Like he's just, you know, like you know, whites with black features and different like but these some of these was whites and like it's just these are times before us, but I just want to give this to y'all, let y'all see. This is gonna be a powerful episode. I just want y'all to see it. So pull it full screen. I'm gonna play this little video and I'm gonna be back. And I'm gonna show you that I use .govs. These are credible sources. And I know a lot of them might be, you know, like Miss Monk just told me .govs contained a lot of real information. It wouldn't have been like from no fake malicious sites where people just putting up anything. You know what I'm saying? She said it would have to have been a credible source because those are, you know, preserved for like the government and federal places and stuff like that. So she said, you know, the learning came from her, but you know, I don't know the challenge, none of that, none of that. You know, I just know that that's where the archives are. They're the government archives. So you can't be searching documents if it's not a .gov because you're not on those can't be government documents, so it can't be true. So I use .govs because these are their archives. These they have to put it in files and laws and logs and things about things that they do. They have to make it public record for you to know. It's just that a lot of people don't care. So I'm gonna show you these are real. This is a .gov. This is right here at the top. See that? .gov. And it's Australia Archives. Asset. Dreams of Whiteness, the archives. But let's pull it up and play it.
This luxurious Melbourne home is a fairy tale come true for 3 Aboriginal girls from Melville Island, 180 miles from Darwin. Mr. and Mrs. Deutscher visited the island last year and adopted 3 Aborigines to bring up with their own 3 children. Christine is 4, and for the first time in her life, she has a mother and father. 2-year-old Faye was rescued by a territory policeman who found her abandoned. They've been cared for by the Methodist Mission, and now they live in a 15-room mansion. Mr. Deutscher says he believes it's possible to integrate Aboriginals into white families. Christine certainly seems to be proving that Mr. Deutscher is right, and so does Faye. It's all so new to them, and they're still a little wide-eyed. A long way from Melville Island, but at last a home and the love and affection of a family of their own. Sleep tight, children, because you know that dreams do come true, don't you?
How do you determine what is a good intention? I mean, there were certainly people who said, particularly if they saw light-coloured children, and said these children shouldn't be allowed to grow up in the Aboriginal camp. They should be brought into white society and their level of civilisation raised. That was the sort of view. There were also people who thought that the conditions in camps were bad, and as they were. I mean, the social, medical conditions of many Aboriginal people was very, very poor, and so people thought, well, it's better if you take the children away. They'll have a better life. And many individuals adopted Aboriginal children on this assumption we can give them a better life. So good intentions were there, but behind that, particularly in the 1930s and right through into the 1940s, was this quite deliberate plan to breed the Aborigines out.
Norman B. Tyndale, the physical anthropologist, wrote the theory of race in Australia, and it looks like a stud book. It looks like a breeding manual for animals. If you mix 1 full blood with 1 half caste equals a 3/4 caste. 1 3/4 caste mixed with 1 quadroon equals 1 half caste. And that's published in a scholarly journal, in an anthropological journal.
Eugenics was an idea which was extremely important in most Western countries, and the idea was that through breeding you would improve the race or the nation. You would breed out bad characteristics with large-scale plans. That is, you would sterilise the unfit, and that happened widely in many Western countries. And in Australia, it took the form of trying to breed out the colour.
So again, like I said, I'm just giving y'all the information. It's an old video. It's a credible source. It's the archives. It's the videos. I'm gonna go back to the summary of it. You know what I'm saying? And like they said, each was camp set up to bleed out the color. You know what I'm saying? You see that was like it looked like an Indian couple and some type of indigenous, and you see what they was doing. They took the women from these cultures. Also, was all girls. They took the women from these cultures and put them with white families. You know what I'm saying? And bled out the pigmentation. Like they had it's an agenda. They had a plan to separate us. Like, it's crazy that people think it's a conspiracy. I just want to educate that. That's why I get toe up when I see it sometimes, because I just know it's an ignorant person. It's a person that fell into the trap, and we don't know these things. Like, if we had these resources, it'll guide us better in these situations. It'll guide us better through life. It'll help us avoid this or avoid that or avoid this, because we have the knowledge to go through these things. You know what I'm saying? We have the knowledge of it's a wall there. So we're not going to run right into a wall in a lot of situations. But, you know, a lot of us don't have the resources that I had. So I'm going to give it to y'all. And back to I'll give you the rest of the summary and then pause. Y'all can pause the read and go through the rest. But I played the video. Let's go back to it. See, so you know what I'm saying? Like, and that was something else that Miss Monk told me. You know, she kept stressing that when they came to the land, we had the land, they had the books. When they left, we had the books, they had the land. And you could see that the push for separation and the divide of us as cultures into these race categories was so that they would be able to claim rights to land. They would be able to claim rights to all of that because this this woman was the last surviving person of his village, and she was forced to marry into this situation with this man. So the offspring are of that descent, but it's this new white man with this different ideology to push something different. You know what I'm saying? It's not the white that existed beforehand, the poor black and white, the proletariat. It's this new agenda. This it's like it's new clone of a white person. You know what I'm saying? A white man. You know what I'm saying? To push in new agendas. You know what I'm saying? It's also black folks doing this. It's also, like I told y'all, it's black Europeans as well. It's just we don't hear as much about it because at you got to realize at this point in time agendas was coming in to separate. So it's not going to talk about it. It's just going to show you stuff like this because you don't know who her husband was. You know what I'm saying? There might have been somebody. It might have been somebody that was in cahoots. They might have been friends, or it might have been the poor blacks and whites that got into these situations, and this was the outcome because you see the information that I didn't given you and what was done with some of the things in the stolen generations and everything of all this. So, that was a good one right there of the manifestos and natural selection and things that came into play with that. So, that's just the gist of what today was. You know what I'm saying? I just wanted to give y'all some of Karl Marx and Darwin and all of them and what they was and just soak up some of this on your own of it is an agenda. People aren't losing their minds or going crazy when they start to believe that it's an agenda for us to have this dumb hatred and feel the way that we feel, to use situations like the Austin Metcalf and all these kids as examples, as something to have happened and all of that. Like, nah, bro. Like, you know what I'm saying? You can't tell me that this is how it's supposed to be when we are the people that get up every day and make sure that shit's happening. The 99, we making sure, we GMs, PMs, managers, supervisors, we the openers, the closers, and everything. But yet we going against each other, cutting each other's throat. No unity, no coming together. And it's my message is huge for black and white, the proletariats, the 99, like Karl Marx and Frederick Engels. That's who my message be for us poor black and whites. We have to, you know what I'm saying? I'm not to say that, people financially struggling. I'm just saying like poor mentally, poor, overallly, not financially, I'm not speaking on situation. I'm just saying like poor health, struggling, not the working class, the proletariats, the majority of us, the 99%, we don't know that it's an agenda, and the agenda is to confuse us as much as possible because it was a play that started when Karl Marx and Frederick Engels started to come out with this book about, hey, look, this is what they trying to do to us, man. We don't have to accept this. But black folks don't understand this. My culture don't understand this. You don't know this, and you should know this. You should know that it is people that they don't talk about at all that are white that tried to do shit. They came out with books, man. They tried to bring the unity together. They not gonna teach you about that. You know what they started to do to that? They started to teach your kids roots and shit like that, books and shit of oppression and being beat on and shit. to separate you, to have you thinking that now you're looking at this white person different, thinking about they come from oppressing you and making you fucked up, when it's not true. It's not true. These people was trying to help us avoid this situation and stay unified way before this idea of slavery and all this shit came into play. They used ideas from other places like the Ashanti tribes and how they was with slavery, and the ideas like the European slave trade. Like these are things tied to certain groups that became in power, and they burned down histories and books of all this. They didn't teach you about Karl Marx and them a lot in school because they don't want you to revolt and revolutionize and come together and have unity for your neighbor. They want you to have that hate towards black and white. You know what I'm saying? They want the oppression because that way they keep the control. Like I just showed it to you. You know what I'm saying? Like, so yeah, I really wish that people would wake up on things. You know what I'm saying? Like, not to put you in an awoke category, but understand that it's an agenda for us to not unify. You know, it's an agenda for us. They got golf courses and yachts and all of this shit off of the work that we do, as opposed to like you see laws that just got passed in these states. You know what I'm saying? If I'm not mistaken, it's in Indiana now. You know, homeless people are allowed to be locked up. Like that's crazy. We could send billions of dollars to another country, but laws are now passed to where homeless people can be locked up. Like it's crazy. You know what I'm saying? So, stay safe, everybody. Much love, and until the next time, your boy Mariah. I'm out, man.